Welcome back to the show. Liquid Lunch is here, and Sandra has something to say. Sandra.
Hot off the press.
What?
Bill Gates is vegan.
Well, he has to be because, he's trying to kill billions of people with the Agenda 21 and the vaccines. So he has to, keep himself healthy.
You know what? Well, hey, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, all these so-called reptilians are now going vegan. What does that say?
Well, speaking of reptilians, this is the part.
Isn't that a great segue?
This is part of the show that we've been waiting for. We have Joe Ego joining us, a reptilian shapeshifter, right? Joe, welcome.
You don't seem like a reptilian to me.
Well, sometimes that's what happens.
Well, listen, we're gonna get.
Okay,
I just want to say we also have Carmen DeLuccio here
Hello,
joining
Carmen.
us.
Hello.
Carmen, great to meet you and have you on the show as well.
Thank you.
And you're an
It's great to be here.
astrologer and an alchemist.
Yes.
And Joe, you're a master energy healer and a reptilian shapeshifter. This is fabulous. We've been waiting a long time for this, guys. So let's get into it. Where do we start, Joe? Okay, so first of all, how can you say that you're a reptilian?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, if we were to look at your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the water that's in the body.
Yeah.
Water is just going from one container to the next.
Right.
So in previous lifetimes, we would have existed as such. And then we keep coming back into different containers with that information more upgraded. So there would have been some lives where I was full-blown reptilian, and then other lives where I was a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
But I've encompassed lives from so many different places on this world and other worlds.
Okay, so and then, but you were born here on planet Earth just like the rest of us?
That's right. That's right.
But so how did?
Go ahead.
Well, so how did you discover or realize that you had this? Because a lot of people, if there is reincarnation, they don't remember their previous incarnations, right?
Yes.
So how did that
yes.
happen?
I'd say 3 years ago, my whole life changed in front of my eyes.
Like what happened?
I started seeing things on other dimensions that I was like trying to figure out what was that stuff that I started seeing. And it happened a month after the BP oil spill.
I was just going to say, did something trigger that? Was it the BP oil spill that triggered that
Well,
for you?
what triggered it was a year before that I learned Reiki. And
Okay.
before I learned Reiki, I met a psychic lady because I was against seeing psychics my whole life.
Okay,
And
so
finally-
you were considered a normal conformist type person.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. Very scientific, the way that most people are brought up in society. And I saw the psychic lady, and she told me a lot of things. And one of the things she told me to pay attention to was astrology. And through astrology, and then she introduced me to Reiki. Reiki opened me up to a whole different game. Because then I started practicing meditation. And this is something I never used to do as a child. All these spiritual people tell me you should meditate. I just didn't see a point of it. I said, that's only for old people. I could jump around and flip, and that's what I do. I'm a professional stunt performer in film, and I have a viral YouTube video going around called "The Matrix for Real."
Wow!
Where I can defy gravity.
The Matrix for real.
That's right. That's right. So she told me after a year after that happened to me, I learned Reiki. She says, "You're going to start seeing spirits soon. You better know how to protect yourself." And shortly after she told me this, I told my friends, this is the story I've been telling everyone. I said, it was May 26th, the full moon. I said, we need to be at the Scarborough Bluffs. There's something's going to happen. I can feel it. And we're camping there, and we're having a fire, and the fire's communicating with us. And at 2 in the morning, I'm by myself by the water, and my friends are far away. And I can feel something was going to happen. And then suddenly the sky starts rumbling like a loud thunder. And I'm looking at the sky waiting for something up here, and it keeps getting louder and louder, and all of a sudden all the animals around me started to react to it, and they cover the whole sky, and like the animals can sense it. Suddenly above the lake, from every corner of the sky, all these dark shadows appeared, and they look like serpents, and they cover the whole sky in darkness. And I'm looking at this going, this is something out of the Bible, Revelations. This is what happened during Atlantis. And this is a result of that BP oil spill that happened just a month before this, where more than just oil came out of the earth, lower beings. And as a collective, we attracted it here.
Okay.
I'm not going to give 1 ounce of fear to this. And I started praying and protect myself. And behind me there was a presence of all these light warrior spirits. And this darkness goes from the sky to the lake, moves towards me. And when it gets close range to where I'm standing, there are all these serpent and dragon spirits. And they cover the whole area in darkness, and they went into the ground. And at this point, I felt like we're being invaded. I yelled back at the top of my lungs at the rumbling sound. I yelled back, "Bring it on!" Right away when I yelled that, I got these messages saying, there's a reason why you're seeing this. You know what's happening. You're going to tell a lot of people. Your mission is to be a light that lights 100,000 lights. So after it faded away, I ran back to my friends. They didn't see or hear anything, but they saw the animals. And I told them, I saw something on another dimension. Be ready. A month after that, there was an earthquake that happened in Toronto. There's been a G20 event.
That was just before the G20 event.
That's right. And same thing happened when the Pope quit. After he quit, lightning hit, earthquake. And then there was a sequence of tornadoes. And I've been talking to a lot of psychics after that because I was like, I need to figure this out. How come I saw this, my friends didn't see this? What is going on here? And a lot of these psychics would tell me different things. I just want to fast forward a little bit, but that year I saw the Dalai Lama in Toronto. He came, it was the full moon, October 22nd. And when he was in Toronto and I saw him, I saw these huge light beings around him. And there was these beings telling me, they're basically saying, we're looking for the new future leaders to pass the torch down, to empower the world for the golden age. That night I saw a psychic woman, because I went to a house and the psychic lady travels and she comes to town every so often. And the moment I saw her, she goes, what are you doing here? You belong in the 14th dimension. And we started talking afterwards and she's telling me I was a third Dalai Lama figure and I was a monk and different things. And then from there, I met other psychics too that also told me things about my past lives. One of them said, you were around since ancient Lemuria and Atlantis, and you took on some lives as a reptilian. And that, when I started paying attention to that, that's when I started to realize there's something going on here. This is the reason why I always felt this as a child. And the moment I paid attention to it, it started activating things in my DNA that started coming out. And that's why I believe a lot of people have this junk DNA. It's just not activated yet. And when you start paying attention to it, and you activate it through different forms of energy training, you start to become your true self. And I believe a lot of people are starting to realize that now in the golden age of Aquarius.
Wow.
Okay. Lots to get into a little bit later. I just want to ask Carmen, because you guys work together, right? And Carmen, you're an astrologer and an alchemist. Are you a reptilian as well?
No, can I elaborate? I'm going to take it further what he said.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
so when people become more, Joe was, in his most recent lifetime, he was a reptilian Nazi soldier. Sorry. So the more you become one of the purpose, I'm also an alchemist, and the whole purpose of our humanistic alchemy, I'm a humanistic alchemist, is that we want to embody more of our soul, because we only have, there's a big division between our higher self and our physical body, and part of the whole process, this 2012 period that we're in, is to embody more of our soul. The more one embodies more of their soul, the more they embody more of their past life experiences. So that's why Joe in this lifetime, sometimes like I'll be with him and we'll have these shamanic journeys, and I'll see him tap more into his past life as a reptilian. And same with me, I tap some into sometimes I shapeshift into some of my past lives too. So that's just want to elaborate. And to tie in astrology into that, Joe's a Pisces with Aries rising. I'm a Taurus with Leo rising. So Tauruses are more thorough. So I'm giving you a thorough explanation of what he said. He's giving you the Pisces, big imagination, very direct, Aries, anxious. I got to tell you all my stories. Kind of, so that's kind of like where,
jump.
Yeah. So that's why kind of like we're kind of a good team and kind of balance each other out like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So now, so you witnessed all these negative energies coming into Toronto.
That's right.
Right?
That's
right.
right.
And so where are we at today? We had the earthquake, we had the G20. Things don't seem so bad out there now, but what do we...
And what the heck are they doing here?
What are we
We're
dealing
good
with
people.
here?
What's that all about?
Toronto is a world leader, and we're an example for the world. And there's a lot of energies here in Toronto. If anything's going to happen in this world where there's mass extraterrestrial disclosure, it's going to be here.
You think so?
Yes,
Over Washington?
I feel, because, in Canada, we seem to encompass many cultures. And we're also
It's a gateway to the world.
Yes, we're also positioned on a very powerful ley line. There's a big power grid in the lake itself. Out of all of Canada, Ontario has the most UFO sightings. And there's a reason for that.
I said I would have thought of it out west.
No, there's actually an 8
Saskatchewan.
UFO base underneath Lake Ontario. And there's like a little mini Bermuda Triangle.
There is.
in eastern
Toronto
Lake Ontario.
Island too is a potent spot as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a ley line on there. I'm not sure.
And I also
That's
have
the word on the street.
That's right. I also have a piece of metal from a starship. I'll talk about it.
Whoa. Okay. Can we zoom in and see that? We'll try to just maybe put on the table there if you could, Joe, and we'll zoom in it. But while we're getting ready for that, are we okay here in Toronto though? Because
Yes.
tell us, why we're okay here in Toronto.
Well, Toronto is, I believe, is a great place because we're not close to the coastline. We're high elevation, and we're surrounded by nature. And there's a lot of things you can do here in Toronto that a lot of parts of Canada always try to question. So I feel
Like
like it's It's just they look at us almost like a bridge to like the States or even like an international city. That's why I feel that's why healers like John of God came here. Because he was called, because this place is where it needs it the most.
So Canada needs the healing the most? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I feel like in Toronto, and talking about Toronto in astrology.
Yeah. Toronto's a Capricorn.
That's right.
Right?
Toronto's
so
Capricorn?
Toronto's Capricorn as of 98.
Isn't that interesting? Okay.
So that's why, like, one thing about the shadow of Capricorn is that people are like, work, work, work. They don't have time for anything. They're always trying to climb up the social ladder.
And that's what Toronto is. Everybody comes here to work, right?
Yeah, everyone comes here to work, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the good thing of it is people that come out of Toronto always strive. People in Toronto, Capricorn is all about striving to be the best that you can be, whatever you're doing, whatever career, whatever. So a lot of people that come out of Toronto, a lot of the world's leaders, or even in entertainment, look at the top two entertainers, Drake and Justin Bieber. They come out of the GTA, right? Or Drake does, anyways. And ever since '98, since they amalgamated Toronto, that was under Capricorn. So that's why ever since then there's been a shift. There's like Toronto's become more of a focal point. And even the Illuminati, the powers that be, like they're aware of this. That's why we have the Sky Dome and the Rogers Center and the CN Tower, the major phallic symbols. That's the focal point of Toronto. So there's this.
They're the symbols for the Illuminati?
Well, they always use phallic symbols as.
Yeah, like the Washington Monument, like
exactly. But we have both.
Cleopatra's Needle, like all that stuff.
But the CN Tower is the penis, and the Rogers Center is the vagina, right? So it's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that. I can't believe you didn't know that, Sandra.
So the Illuminati, the people, they know this, right? There's a lot of like major players here. There's a lot of good and dark happening here, and Toronto, you know, I just look at it as the gateway to the world because it's the most multicultural city in the world. If an alien wanted to check out Earth and just like quick, they could just come to Toronto and see all the cultures. Well, but they're all working too hard.
I think they're here. I saw some, you know, sometimes you see them in bars on the dance floor. Okay, can we protect ourselves from some of these negative energies, or maybe
Absolutely.
did you that night, Joe? Did you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's very important to protect yourself. That's why a lot of people are getting sick with things they don't even realize, because their aura field is completely wide open. And when your aura field is wide open, these entities can get inside you, and then they can grow into things like tumors, or they can even start controlling your thoughts. It's an energetic parasite. That's really what's happened. And because of we look at like the foods that people eat, the drugs people take, just the way they try to lower the vibration in cities on purpose, it's easy for these things to get in there.
Now, who's they?
Small group of people on the planet, 13 families to be exact, and they have different genetics from the rest of us.
So we are talking about the Illuminati then. That's the 13 families that so many speak about,
That's right?
What do you mean they have different?
Rothschilds.
Don't mention any names, Sandra.
Oops.
They're fine people.
Yeah. Well, can I add to that? Can I add to that? To go even deeper, there's people that believe that there's also ultra-terrestrial or extraterrestrial entities that work through these people, which some people call them the Velons or the Anunnaki. So, you know, and sometimes a lot of people in the spiritual community, people who are channelers and psychics, sometimes they're channeling the negative entities, and sometimes there's a lot of deception within the New Age community that we need to be aware of.
So the Anunnaki are negative, but aren't there positive Anunnakis as well?
No, there's positive ETs and entities, right? But there's also a lot of negative ones, and the negative ones are really going out of their way. Like they have an agenda to push the future of our planet in a certain direction.
Where do they want to push it?
Well, they're doing lots of things. They're controlling the politicians. They're controlling the spiritual leaders. They're like the Pope. They're controlling lots of things from different areas. But then they're also infiltrated the New Age community. There's a lot of black magicians who carry the Luciferian archetype. There's a lot of deception within the New Age community. If you
so how do we watch for that?
You just got to protect yourself, and you gotta. The thing is, there's a lot of delusion. Like, what's really important for the New Age? Like, is it really important? Like, even talking about ETs, I had an amazing extraterrestrial contact experience, and I believe in ETs, but is that important? No. What's important is we came here for an alchemical experience. We didn't come here for ETs to come pick us up and take us off into space. We came here to develop our soul. We came here to perfect our soul.